Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 102 of the 72 review. We are going to be going through League One this weekend. We went through the Championship last weekend, graded every team's performance, and yeah, I think we've got it pretty much spot on. We will bring it up as a refresher, but yeah, we'll go through League One tonight and have a look at our pre-season predictions and see how close or far away we were. Last week wasn't the greatest of viewings. We weren't a million miles away with some, but we were absolutely shocking on others. We've got the full squad in tonight, so welcome back. Jake, we'll start with you. Introduce yourself, let people know who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
I am Puncture41. I am a Sheffield Wednesday fan that I've been covering it for way too long, and I do it because I love it, because if I didn't have it, really, I'd get bored and I've annoyed the wife, and no one wants that. There'd be a homicide, and it's not. But I also co-host the Talking Wednesday podcast as well, where we talk about everything Wednesday. And yeah, wasn't on last week. Mother having a knee op. She's fine now. Thank God for the NHF. But it's just one of those things where life gets in the way. And this season, I've just had 2 kids, so it's been a little bit more difficult. I will try and be on a little bit more next season. I don't like being able to be on doing this. I enjoy it. And it's always good to have time with friends and the community, and just build the community up.
Yeah, family first every single time though, mate. We completely understand. And there's always a seat open for you when you are available. Below him is the ever-present Ian. Your banner says it all. A big congratulations to Crystal Palace for winning the FA Cup. I mean, any team that beats the League Two champions on the way is worthy of winning the FA Cup, I'd say. Introduce yourself. Let people know who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Well, as you said, Dan, ever present, because I haven't got a life. No, I'm only joking about that. My name's Ian. I'm 63-year-old Rotherham season ticket holder, and when the Millers are away, I'm up and down the country vlogging for my YouTube channel. Do it because I love it, and we're all in the same boat. We're all addicted to football.
Unfortunately, sometimes. Lovely stuff. We will get the banner running across the bottom of the screen because we have had some playoff semi-finals. So we're going to have a quick recap on those results across Championship, League One and League Two. Get your comments in as normal. It does drive conversation. Let us know as we get into the grading if you think we're miles off or you agree with us. But yeah, Ian, you wanted to say a few words on some of the Championship playoff semi-finals.
Yeah, I do feel a little bit sorry for Coventry because, in my opinion, they were the better of the two sides in both of the legs, but Sunderland hung in there. And an analogy with Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope against Foreman. I mean, they're stuck in there. They broke at pace when they could. But Coventry had the majority of the ball and some absolute gilt-edged chances, especially second leg. And they just got done in the 123rd minute.
Yeah,
Dan Ballard header.
Pretty much last kick.
I've never seen a stadium erupt like that in my life. The limbs were incredible. So, I mean, congratulations to Sunderland. They got the job done, but I do feel a little bit sorry for Coventry.
See, I said it before we came on the show. I said I think Sunderland have kind of automatically known that they'd had playoffs since about March. So dropped off the boil, not played as well as they know they could do, and just rested players. And I'm just wondering if they used the other games as like a little bit of pre-season, get ready for this, and then build up all the legs for this. So it'll be interesting because it's an odd one. Like you look at the likes of Coventry and Sheffield United, they were all trying to fight for something right near the end.
Yeah.
One wanted automatic, one wanted the playoff belt. Well, Sunderland were just there going, well, hi. We're done. It'll be interesting to see what happens, and you're gonna take your hat off to Bristol City. Absolutely fantastic season they've had. For getting there. Sheffield United are something else when they get going. We said it all season. When they're on form, they're just on form, and we just
gonna. I'm a little bit disappointed in Bristol City because they didn't put up too much of a fight, especially in their home leg. When they were at home, I don't think. I mean, I think that Cooper, the Blades keeper, could have brought a flask and sandwiches.
Yeah,
there were just no threat at all.
See, the moment the Bristol City player did that foul, you knew it was done.
Yeah.
That would be annoying.
As soon as we went down to 10 men and 3-0 on first leg, it's a mountain to climb, isn't it?
It definitely was a red card. I mean, I know there's people saying it wasn't, but if you put your arms around somebody, you're going to get penalised for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the thing is, Bristol City need to just don't be too annoyed by it. And again, it could be a case again of they used all that momentum to get in the playoff. Now, once they got in the playoffs, like we used too much to get there.
Yeah.
So they haven't been able to rest and do everything. So it could be a case of that. But get to your first one, and then the next season, get to your second one. Maybe even then adapt, put more to it, get a good transfer window. Maybe you'll see the fruits of your labour.
Yeah, it's about learning from the experience, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got a good crop of young players there that they need to keep hold of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that Scott Twine's exceptional.
Yeah,
he was a steal as well.
Yeah, he's half decent, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mark's in the chat.
As well.
Hi guys, was right. Sheffield United versus Sunderland. Wilder never won in his last 8 playoffs. Sheffield United lost 8 playoff finals. I go Sunderland to win it. So we've covered championship.
Do we have a prediction?
Obviously, Sheffield United have got the biggest aggregate scoreline in a championship playoff semi-final with 6-0. Sunderland just edged it 3-2 after extra time. For me personally, I think it could be a bit of a mental thing that adds to the final. Sheffield United getting there so confidently and so comprehensively. Could it mean that there's a bit of complacency coming in and they're expecting to do the same in the final? Sunderland, they'll be on a massive high after the way that they've gone to the final. Could that just be the little bit of an edge that pushes them over? I am going for a very tight game, but I think Sheffield United will just edge it. I do think they'll edge it. I think they'll stop the trend of losing in finals. So I'm going Sheffield United for the championship. What about you, Jake?
I'm seeing in the league games this season, it's been Sunderland, Sheffield United have been with each other most of the way, kind of thing. So it could be interesting to see what happens. Now, I have a funny feeling this will go to penalties. I think it's going to be that tight. I think it'll go pens. And if it go pens, I rate Sheffield United keeper more than I rate the other one. For Sunderland, and I think he will make the difference. I think in this one, I think keepers are going to be the thing that saves it. It could be quite entertaining because they both like to attack and they both like to leave a lot of base. Now, we know what Sheffield United are like and what Wilder's like. He will try and get a 1-0 and shut up shop. And they've done that a lot this season. But I think it'll go to penalties, and if it does, I think Sheffield United will edge it.
So we've got 2 for Sheffield United at the minute and reasons why. Ian, championship final, where are you going?
I'm going unanimously, says Sheffield United, and I think it'll be a little bit more comfortable than you two have envisaged. I can see Sheffield United taking a first half lead. I can see Sunderland throwing the kitchen sink at them second half, but leaving spaces at the back. So I'm going for Blades 2, Sunderland 0.
Oh, he's give a scoreline as well. That is confident. Lovely stuff. In the chat, who do you think for championships, Sheffield United or Sunderland? We'll jump to League 2 now. We'll skip League 1 for a second because we've got John in the chat. Notts County fan. He said, still in League 2 next season. Wimbledon were just too strong defensively. And without McGoldrick and Jatta, we were toothless.
Yeah.
But there you go.
I mean, if you're gonna miss players like that, you're gonna suffer, especially with the seasons that they've had. I mean, Wimbledon. We all know what Wimbledon are like. We know they're defensively extremely strong.
They've been like it all season, haven't they? Really well drilled, well organised.
And I mean, the amount of 1-0s and 2-1s they've got this season has been.
It's gonna make a cracking final.
Oh, it is. It's going to be a good final. It is. I mean, and I've got to take my hat off to Walsall because everybody thought going into the playoffs in no sort of form at all, you would have thought Chesterfield would steamroller them. but they've won both legs, and you cannot. You can't give them anything.
I wonder if there's been a bit of a reset, like mentally. I wonder if there's been a mental reset going, look, we know we had it won in February,
but forget all that. We have got 3 games to
exactly. I wonder if it's just we're in this position because we did it. Let's now get ourselves out of the position and get to the thing, because if you actually look at the top 3
quarters of the season, for 3 quarters of the season, Walsall been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the last quarter.
It's just that last little bit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
John said, I think Walsall will suffer the same as Notts. They're an incredibly defensively settled and sound team. So I think it's set up as another good final.
I won't lie, I absolutely love the whole Wimbledon thing as well, because they've been such this weird League Two, no one really talking about them, just bubbling. Each game, it's just
they've been up and around it all season, haven't they?
Yeah, but no one's really but no one's really talked about it.
Yeah, they're not been there kicking, screaming, and shouting, have they? They've just gone about the business nice and quietly. Yeah,
I think it's the way it should be.
We attended that Rovers Wimbledon game, and you could see how defensively strong they were.
Yeah, I think that'll be massive for them in the final.
Yeah.
So which way we're going for League Two then, gents? Walsall, like you were saying, they fell off a cliff, and then they've turned it around. 3 wins in 3, comprehensively beating Chesterfield 4-1 over the 2 legs. Wimbledon not conceding across the 2. For me, I'm leaning more towards Wimbledon. I think the defensive solidity will help them in the final. And yeah, I'm going for another tight game. I'm probably another 1-0, possibly on the same side as Mark with a 2-1 win. I don't think there'll be many goals between it. So I'm going Sheffield United for Championship so far, Wimbledon for League Two. Jake?
I'm going Wimbledon just because how defensively solid they are, but I think it'll be a tight game where it'll be 1-1 like in the 80th minute, and then someone nicks it right at the death and break someone's hearts. Because they've both got that style of mentality going, last goal wins, winner stays on mentality. And if you've got that in a final, it's helpful. And they're both quite defensively strong as well. Walsall all had the thing where they will want to get the job done, but there's still that mental fragileness from the season that could creep in, where Wimbledon's not had that. Their thing is just let's just see what happens. So I'm just going to go with tight 2-1.
So we've both gone with tight 2-1s, Ian. What about you for League Two?
I'm going Wimbledon because I think defensively they're exceptional.
What a team!
Exactly. I can see this going to extra time, but I don't think it'll go to penalties, and I think Wimbledon will probably get a goal in extra time. So I'm going Wimbledon 1, Walsall 0 in extra time.
There we go. So that's League Two done. And before we go on to grading League One, we've got 2 semi-finals in League One to talk about. Leyton Orient getting past Stockport, and Charlton narrowly edging it across 2 legs against Wycombe. So thoughts on those, gents?
I thought the Wycombe-Charlton game was interesting. I'll say the least. Charlton doing what they've done most of this season, just play very well and then just nick it and just move on.
Yeah.
The celebration by a certain Mr. Jones, mind you, Christ almighty. Just let the man have a camera, follow him all through the whole thing. Like, guy, just put a camera on him, and we'll just go to the Nathan Jones camp to see what's happening. But
Nathan Jones camp.
But to be fair, I think they deserve to get it, Charlton. I think they might win it. I think they may get it in the final for me. But Leyton Orient had an incredible season. And again, it's a little bit like AFC Wimbledon, just in and around it, keeping going, trying to just make sure no one really spoke too much, and they've done it. But I think it's going to be a tight one again. I think it's going to be a tight one, but I think it'll be a Charlton win in the final.
There we go. Ian?
Well, I was very surprised that Orient got past Stockport because Stockport, exceptional team, especially at home, and to come away with that with a result, Richie Wellens and his Orient team deserve massive credit for that. Obviously, they've been good defensively this season, Orient, and they've got a massive threat in that Charlie Kelman, who's been scoring goals for fun. But I think he's only on loan there.
I think he is,
yeah. So they might not have him next season. But having said that, if he does the business in the player plan, I don't think they'll be a bit bothered. The other one, I'm going to say this. I hope that there's no Wycombe fans watching this, but I'm glad Wycombe didn't make the final because they're the sort of team that I would pay money not to watch, if you know what I mean.
Wait, you're happy they're not in the final, yet you're going to be playing them again next season?
We'll have to play them twice next season.
Well,
now.
That's the nature of the beast, isn't it? I mean, yeah, we've got to play them next season, but I'm really glad that Charlton turned them over. As for the final itself, I can't see past Charlton winning it. I think they will have to have a Nathan Jones cam on him. I think they'll win it quite comfortably.
All royalty go to E-Trust guy, by the way.
I'm sticking my neck out here, but I think it might be a 2-goal margin. So I'm going for Charlton to win 3-1. I think Leyton Orient will score, but I think Charlton will have too much for them. And I think if Matt Godden's on form, who's been there, done that, and bought the T-shirt with Coventry over the years, I think Charlton will win comfortably.
Yeah, I'm same as you guys. I think Charlton in this one. Depends if you've got Galbraith and Kelman on form. Some bother, but I think
in my opinion, and I remember I've seen all 23 Miller's home games this season. The best opposition player I've seen at our place is Galbraith. Well, the best opposition player I've seen with Galbraith is a superb player.
Yeah, and good player.
Regardless of whether Orient make it to the Championship, I can't see Galbraith being there because I think that some higher up Championship sides will snap him up.
Yeah.
There we go. So that's a quick overview of the semi-final playoffs across all 3 divisions. We will get the grading up on the screen. So we're going through League One, but here's a recap of the Championship. You weren't with us last week, Jake. I think me and Ian are quite happy with where we put everybody.
I watched it back on repeat, and I think this is really fair. I think it's very fair with it being put in. For me, your overachievers are bang right. I think performed really well. I think the thing is, you look at anyone in the C to D category, you look at how many of those teams are changed managers, been in the news for other reasons. There's a reason why they're all down there in that.
Yeah.
And I'm happy we got a B. So, to be fair, it's been the most weirdest season ever pre-end of it because I've been very much like, I should be celebrating how great we got a mid-table, brilliant. And then I've been like, dealing with the other stuff. But yeah, I think it's really right. And it can be interesting to see what happens next season with the teams that are coming down again, and then the teams that are going to potentially who are already up and who are going to potentially go up in the final.
Yeah, good stuff. I don't remember seeing too many disagreements in the chat or in the comments this week. I think there were questions about maybe Leeds being in A+, but that's why I put the reasoning next to it. Yeah. So what we do with this is just because you get promoted or relegated doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get an E or an A+ because you've been promoted or relegated.
Same with Argyle, they got relegated, but they only got a D.
Yeah, because it depends on kind of the expectation on the club. And I think because Leeds were expected to be promoted, it'd be very harsh to give them a C as achieved expectation because they did do really well. So if an A+ is overachieved, so done much better than what was expected.
It's like if Blackburn Rovers got playoffs, they would have been an A.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, performed very well. Yeah. For B, is performed well. So like Chef Wednesday, for example, really good season. Probably expected to kind of be in the mid to bottom end of the table with the performance from last season.
Yep.
But flirted with the playoffs. I think a little bit of investment in January could have probably pushed you over the edge on that one. So yeah, a good performance throughout the season.
Yeah.
C's achieved expectations, so pretty much exactly where people expected the team to finish. D is underachieved. So Plymouth, for an example, they were probably expected to try and avoid relegation.
You could probably actually go from D onwards, see Plymouth who go, and then the rest you're like, why are you all there? But you get why.
Yeah.
Like you look at Norwich at minute. Norwich are apparently looking at leaving Manning at Bristol City. And if that happened, that would be, I don't know what would happen. But you look at some of those teams like Preston has always been your mid-table team.
Yeah.
They should have been nowhere near. They should have been fighting relegation.
Yeah.
And then you look at E. Cardiff has been fighting that for so many seasons. They've been doing that like Birmingham for so long. And I worry that something like a Hull and maybe Stoke next season could have that kind of thing if they don't get it right.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially with Hull.
And Luton's just been an unmitigated disaster, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So an E grade is a dreadful season. So please bear that in mind while we're giving League One teams grading. By all means, get in the chat. Let us know if you think that we're wrong, but we will try and agree as a team of where to put them, put our arguments forward. So we'll start from bottom to top. Jake, Shrewsbury Town, relegated in 24th. Where do you think these guys should be?
I'm probably going to say it's a dreadful season. I'll be brutally honest. An E. I really do think it's an E because they had an opportunity to do really well this season. And it's not like a lot went wrong per se, but it was when everything started happening with the manager and all that kind of thing. It didn't get it got sort of really quickly. And then suddenly something else has happened. They've had the takeover stuff that's happened and hasn't happened. I think off-field situations has completely wrecked their season.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had the open expectation when Gareth Ainsworth took over, and suddenly he wasn't there anymore. I mean, that was a weird situation, that. And then Appleton came in, and he had absolutely no chance of saving them.
No.
Because they were relegated before he came. I think it's good, though. I do think it's good that they've kept Appleton on at Shrewsbury, and they've not blamed him for the relegation.
He's got to build something,
signing in Tom Anderson. What do you think about the Tom Anderson signing?
I think that's good for both player and club, to be honest. I think he'd have been a bit part player for us if he'd have stayed.
Yeah.
We offered him a decent contract by the looks of it. It was 2 years with a potential year extension on it. So at his age, I think that's a decent contract, but also at his age, I think he's wanting to play football, and for any League Two team, it is a brick wall. He'll do well at Shrewsbury.
I think he'll do well there.
Marcus in there as well, so it's like Donny Old Boys are at Shrewsbury, so it should be all right. Yeah. But yeah, I can't fault him. He's been a fantastic servant for our club. We've done. I think we've done him justice by offering him a decent contract, but he's made the decision that he wants to play football in kind of the twilight part of his career, which I can't fault any player for doing.
No, and a 2-year deal's good at his age.
Yeah, it is really good.
Yeah.
Cambridge, Ian, where do you fancy popping these?
Cambridge, I'm not going to put dreadful. I'm going to put underachieved because they've been fighting. Another club that's had a lot of managerial upheaval this season. Yeah. I mean, they've proved with some of the results, although they've been isolated good results, but they've proved that they can play football. I was quite impressed with them when I saw them. I thought they played, they didn't come to try and park the bus. I mean, although we beat them 2-0, they played a lot of good stuff. I think the managerial situation has hampered them severely, but I think they're good enough, and especially if they can keep some of the young players, to challenge in League Two next season.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm put underachieved. I think that's fair.
No, I agree
Yeah, I
with
would agree on that.
Mm.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. Because at one point they were nearly looking like they were going to be able to save it. And I think if they saved it, they would have gone as a C. That's where we expected them. But I would go, D is about right.
Yeah. Next up in the 22nd was Bristol Rovers. For me, I'm going to put dreadful season. I don't know if you guys will agree with that or disagree with it.
Right.
I think for me, they're just too big a club to have had such a poor season. I think there's off-field issues there which has contributed to this season. But for me,
got
Bristol
a fantastic fan base there.
Yeah, they're a League One club who should be pushing at the top end of League One towards the playoffs, in my opinion. So to see them in the bottom four and playing League Two football next season, for me, that's a dreadful season that I really didn't expect to see them down.
I think we all saw them about mid-table.
Yeah, possibly a little bit higher.
Yeah, with the potential of pushing into that top six. So to see them so low, I hope they come back and build over the summer and return as soon as possible. But for me, dreadful season for Bristol Rovers.
Another one, I mean, the Matt Taylor experiment didn't work. When he got sacked from us, it didn't work. They had Darrell Clark. Well, Darrell Clark's gone back there now, hasn't he, as manager?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he's a hero down there, so it might work in their favour. But when they bought Lindsay from us, because he went out of contract last summer, and he went to Bristol Rovers, I thought, they're signing some pretty decent players there.
They signed decent players, but I don't think they had a plan.
Yeah. I mean, Scott Sinclair. I mean, he's done it all.
Yeah.
They've got some really high-profile players, and it's just not worked at all.
No. So that's why.
So I agree with E there. Just completely agree with it.
Yeah. Next up, Crawley Town.
See, this is where I expected them to be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where you put it because it's where I expected it. I think it's going to be a C because it's where I expected it to be. I didn't expect them to stay up. I won't lie. They made a damn good try of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what probably puts them in C more than D for me. The fact that the squad was decimated from the playoff win last season. They sold players and players moved on, and it was basically a new look team this season. So I think we all expected them to be fighting.
I think we were expecting them to see them have a relegation battle, but I don't think we expected them to take it that close.
So much of a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, at the start of the season, I mean, the 11 players that got them up in the playoff final, I think they lost about 6 of them straight away in the summer.
Yep.
So then the manager walked away to Milton Keynes.
Yep.
And left them in limbo. They struggled all season. Then Scott Lindsay came back after being sacked by MK Dons, and then started performing again. I mean, they beat us 4-0 at the New York Stadium, which, as it turned out, was fantastic.
That got rid of Steve Evans, didn't it?
Yeah.
I would like to say that. Which turned out to be a fantastic result for Rotherham because it got rid of Fat Man and Bobbin. So yeah, I've been waiting to say that, by the way. But yeah, they look really good against us. Scott Lindsay's come back. He knows the DNA of the club. They'll be up there next season in League Two. Crawley.
Yeah, I think maybe a bit more stability. It could have been a very different season for Crawley. So yeah, I'd agree with C for that. On to the Brewers, Burton Albion, Ian.
I'm sorry, but this might be a bit controversial, but I'm going to put them A. Because
performed very well.
Gary Bowyer has come in there and performed a miracle. Absolutely performed a miracle. Because round about January, early February, they look dead and buried.
Yeah.
He's come in there, he's taken an underperforming side, and the form that they've had since mid-February to the end of the season is playoff form.
Yeah.
They've done exceptionally well to survive, but they seem to make a habit of that because they did exactly the same last season.
They need to have the stability in the summer.
Yeah.
And I think if they get stability in terms of bringing in the right signings, you can get that working. But I think...
I mean, they've recruited very well because Gary Bowyer is a good manager. Yeah. He's proved it over his career.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next team, Mark's coming on the chat. Can't fault Big Tom going to Shrewsbury. Will Sharp stay? We've offered him a contract. I think if he wants to play football and continue playing football, I think
he'll sign it.
To be that to sign. But if he's wanting to move away from football, what a way to end his career. He said that he wanted to repay Donny from the difficult time that he had when he lost his son. The club was there for him.
I think he's repaid it.
And he's repaid it in spades, hasn't he? So if he chose to end at this point on a high, I don't think any Rovers fans could really grumble too much. But yeah, it'd be nice to see him still in the red and white hoops next season in League One, because I do think he's still got plenty to give inside the 18-yard box. So
Dan's just waiting for when they do Eve Trust and he's one of the legends that you get to play with.
Oh, my head will fall off. On to Northampton. So in 19th, where are we? Northampton.
I'll say he's probably a C.
I'd agree with that. I think we probably expected them to be kind of mid to lower end of the table. Probably underperformed a little bit, being 19th and flirting with a drop. But I think still maintaining their League One status.
I think, I think definitely. I mean, they lost the manager 3/4 of the way through the season, sacked, and they brought Kevin Nolan in, who's done a sterling job to keep them up. I think they've done really well. I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that they've kept Sam Hoskins, who's their main goal scorer in chief, and they've done pretty well. It's not an easy place to go with that Sixfields.
No.
Have they finished that stand yet?
Yes, they have. They've finished it. Yeah, I think they've finished it with sort of like boxers, executive boxers. Sort of thing. I wouldn't pay to get in there. I'd just sit on that grass bank at top.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next one, I just do want to extend our congratulations to Boreham Wood for winning the National League South playoffs. And by the looks of it, Scunthorpe versus Chester has finished Scunthorpe 2, Chester 1. So big congratulations.
Congratulations
as well. It's a step back towards the Football League. And like we were saying before we came live, Stockport weren't in that position too long ago. So it's possible,
6-7
isn't it?
years ago. Yeah, it is.
If it's built properly and progress is kind of built on with more progress, anything can happen. So hopefully that's the first step, because I would like to see Scunny back in the league, just so that we get another local derby and 6 points across the season. That'd be nice.
Yeah. On the next two, can I just make a kind of thing, because I think we can all agree that both of them are underachieved.
Yes.
I just have a funny feeling it makes sense to do this as a group one, as the pair of them, because they both underachieved. They should be nowhere near 17th and 18th.
To be fair,
we're nearly up there.
I was going to argue for Peterborough as a dreadful season if we were looking at league alone.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah.
But they've got a trophy, so...
But the fact that they've got a trophy, for me, just...
That's the bit that changes it, yeah. Getting a bit of silverware makes it a bit cruel to put it as a dreadful season.
Although it is a Mickey Mouse Cup, silverware is silverware.
Hey, Rotherham have got it. They got it. They go and look at it all the time.
Yeah, we do. We've got it twice, and you've won it as well. Rovers have won it as well.
Have Wednesday ever won it?
Nah.
I don't think so. You'll never sing that.
I don't like Mickey Mouse.
Though, Jake, I would argue about Mansfield, because they came up last season, and I think the expectation were to stay in the league. So I think they've achieved it.
But I think also the way they started and then the drop off.
The
drop off.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the drop off that makes it underachieve, because I don't think they were expecting them to be that close to the relegation zone. I think they
I
were
think
probably
they were-
looking mid-table.
I think they were about 8th or 9th at Christmas.
Yeah. And
I
that's
think
where
for
I'm
me-
kind of on Jake's side with that one. The fact that they came up and they were performing so well and then dropped off. It's kind of, we said it last week. I wish there was more options to kind of put, or more space on my screen to put A+, A-, B+, B-. I think it's probably a high D, low C for Mansfield.
Yeah.
Do you think Nigel Clough will stay? Because there's been rumours.
All depends
He's
on
not
what.
signed the contract yet.
It all depends on what they put in front of him as a challenge and if they can give him what he wants.
Mm.
It's going to be an interesting summer.
Yeah.
Also, Mansfield have got a massively aging squad.
Yes.
Yeah, they have.
Mm.
So there'll be change. Next up, Exeter City. Ian.
Exeter have done well. I would go as for a C. Achieved expectations. Gary Caldwell, to be honest, they're quite a small club, even in League One terms. Exeter, they're a fan.
If we can like turn the badge halfway where there's got half in B and half in C cup, and that's where about they'd be. It's such a hard area. It's a hard one because they've not done too badly, have they? In theory,
no, they've not done badly at all. Crikey Moses, it's a hell of a long trip down there. I mean, and I think that's probably why. I think probably why the home form is reasonable. They've got no stars there, no star performers. They just perform pretty well as a team. I think McGuinness has made a home down there. Josh McGuinness, who was a pretty decent striker. Defensively, they've improved with Angus MacDonald going up there from Aberdeen. He's made a difference.
Yeah, he's a good player.
But I would say they've achieved expectations. I think it's been a decent season.
Next season, I'm hoping for a double away day, Tuesday and Saturday. Plymouth, Exeter. I'm going to try and tempt our last for a week away in Plymouth.
And don't tell her why.
Shout, actually.
Yeah, I'll not tell her why. Just a nice week away, Vic.
There's a football game on Tuesday night. Fancy going?
I never knew. Honest. Jake, Wigan finished the season in 15th.
I want to say C.
Okay.
Just because I feel like, but I also feel like they wanted to do more. It flirting between C and D. I don't know. I'm a bit stuck on this because I was expecting them to be a bit more higher mid-table, pushing maybe a little bit of a promotion.
Well, I was surprised when Sean Maloney got fired. To be honest, I was quite surprised.
So I can't tell if this is a C or a D for me, lads. So I'm gonna need some help with this one.
I think I'm leaning more towards C because they have had off-field issues over the last couple of years, and
as most clubs have.
I think they're trying to stabilise in League One to then make a real push for it, and I don't think they're quite there to make a real push for it at the minute.
One or two players short, aren't they?
They're a solid League One outfit, a solid, dependable League One. I think C is fair.
Yeah, I think again probably low C, high D, that sort of area.
Yeah. That's where I was like, it's a C because you look at where they are in the league and you think that's great, but then you think about for them realistically, what would they want? And that again, you need like a little like asterisk to the side of some of these going. Yeah.
Next up, Stevenage. So I'll take Stevenage because Rotherham are up after Stevenage, and I'm sure Ian's got a few words to say about them. But mid-table for Stevenage, again, I think there's probably hope of a higher finish. They performed really well last season. They kind of flirted up there and pushed the league to a certain extent. But I think this season was probably more kind of established themselves as more of a kind of regular fixture in League One. And finishing 14th, it's a solid season. The resources, I'm assuming, aren't vast for a club the size of Stevenage.
They've got a League Two budget at Stevenage, and they're performing really well in League One. So I mean, that's up to them.
Yeah. So for me, kind of smack bang mid-table, isn't it? I think it's a job well done. Probably not performed well, although they won't have heaps of resources to go with. I think it's just kind of a solid season for Stevenage. So I'm going achieved expectation in that one.
Yeah.
I'd agree. Yeah.
Over to you, Ian. Rotherham United.
I'm going to be a little controversial. I'm going to be a little bit controversial here because I'm probably going against most Millers fans, but I'm going for C, achieved expectation.
Yeah.
Because
I think you've overachieved because you're far too small for League One.
Thank you. I think
look, they got rid of Steve Evans. What more do you want?
The majority of the season we struggled. I mean, make no bones about that. We had no style of play. We had no, how can I put it? Even the games that we won, we didn't play well in. But that's because of the tactics employed by Fat Man and Bobby. We've got a much better squad of players than our results achieved, really.
Yeah.
And since Matt Hamshaw's come in the last month of the season, we've started playing football again. And we've started.
But what did you say at the start of the season, Ian? You said, I want mid-table season so we can build. I don't want to go up. And you got exactly what you wanted. Yes.
Exactly. That's flirted.
It's flirted a little bit with the relegation places. And you probably could have done with acting a little bit earlier than you did.
Yeah.
But right decision has been made. It's now up to Stuart to back him and see what he wants to do.
Agreed. I mean, the summer's going to be pivotal. We need to. We know the areas of the team that need improving. Everybody knows that. You know, most of all, Matt Hamshaw, and he's been a bit ruthless in his
retained list.
His retained list. He's got rid of
that's
one.
That's what you want, though.
Yeah.
Really, if it's a new manager wanting to make his point of view, he's done what he wanted.
He's even told one of the two people. I don't know which one it is, whether it's Hugill or Clark Harris, but he's told one of the two strikers that are still under contract that they're not in his plans.
Now, I like that from a manager because although they're under contract, he's giving them kind of free roam to.
He basically given them the green light to go to your agent and get your move because you're not going to play it. Nothing against you as a person, but I don't want you here.
Yeah,
exactly that.
Credit to the gaffer for doing that. Yeah,
I think that shows smart management early doors is just going. I'm going to set my stall out straight away for you all. This is what I want from you. This is how it's going to be. And if you have got a problem, let's talk about it. But at the same time, you're not in my plan. Nothing against you, but I just don't want you sitting on the bench rotting.
You see, I mean, that has been publicised, but we don't know which of the two players it is, whether it's Jordan Hugill.
Which one do you think it would be, Ian?
To be honest, I think it'll be Jordan Hugill. Because he's been a bit part player this season, and when he has played, he's not performed at all well. He looks disinterested. At times, he is looks a bit sulky.
Yeah.
And I don't think he wants to be there, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think he'd make a club in League Two a decent striker if you could get him, because he's got the ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if they're not given that opportunity to talk to other teams, that one of Clark Harris or Hugill's sat rotting on the bench, and that bad apple can quickly kind of seep, and that attitude can seep into other players. So I think I'm assuming them players would want to be playing football, and if they weren't kind of told you're going to be surplus to requirements, it starts to piss them off a bit, constantly working in training, not getting picked, and then that attitude and that sort of mentality can have a real negative impact on the wider squad. So credit to him for saying basically get yourselves out there and find yourself a new club, and we won't stand in your way. But I agree. I think achieved expectation for Rotherham, a decent solid season, one where it could have been much worse.
Could have been a lot worse.
but one where you want to build on that next season now. And
yeah.
from a Rovers perspective, I was looking forward to playing Rotherham next season under Steve Evans. I thought we'd get some players involved against you, but under Matt Anshaw, I think it'll be a very different story. And still looking forward to those games. I think it'll be an entertaining.
Oh, the great games. Derbies are great games. I mean, they're fraught with tension, but they're great games to be involved in.
Yeah. Jake, Barnsley finished.
I got a D and an E.
Yeah, I think probably D. Looking at the squads that are in League One.
It's a D which flirts with an E potentially.
Yeah,
Kind of thing. It's not been great, has it?
No, I mean they were in the playoffs 2 seasons ago. Did they get the playoffs last season as well?
Yes.
Yes.
So they
did.
They got beat against Wednesday, didn't they?
Yep.
2 seasons ago. Yep. Playoffs last season, and a 12th place this season.
Massive drop up.
They got a lot of stuff off the field happening as well.
Sorry, Barnsley. If there's any Barnsley fans in the chat, feel free to come at us.
This is the issue I had, because you look at it, you actually look at it, it's more of a dreadful season because they will want it to be in that playoff picture again. Or even pushing
so far off.
Yeah.
And also appointing Hurahan as permanent manager when he's had no managerial experience is a massive gamble.
Richard Keogh's about to become his assistant as well.
Yeah. Well, put it this way, I mean, that's a good appointment because Keogh as a player, he took no prisoners at all, did he?
No,
yeah, but how does the thing? Well, I will say, how does that transfer into management?
Yeah, true.
But it's a good idea.
I mean, here's a thought for you: where would Barnsley be without Davis Keeler-Dunn? Because he's been one of the signings of the season.
Yeah. It could have been a lot worse, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Next up, Ian, Lincoln.
Lincoln, C.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, a very, very solid League One outfit. Sincil Bank is a horrible place to go when they're playing well because they do turn it on. But they're not very good on the travels. I don't know why, but they just don't seem to perform away from home so well. But Lincoln, a really solid League One outfit, and they've established themselves there now. Yeah. I mean, they need to push on a little bit.
Would you say they're starting to turn into this Lee's Accrington Stanley a little bit? Kind of
League One Zaki, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You hear Lincoln, you think League One.
Yeah.
You do,
a little bit.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I mean, traditionally,
the level above, far too good to be the level below.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A bit like Rotherham, really.
Yeah.
You can't. We can't do it in the Championship, but we're always solid in League One. So Lincoln and Rotherham are probably a little bit, similar in
League
that.
One friends.
Hey, League One's where it's at next season. On to Huddersfield. So I think we had these as automatic. But
I'm putting it as a dreadful season.
Talking to Anthony, who was a big Huddersfield fan, I think he would have been happy with playoffs. But the only reason I'm leaning towards D and not E is the amount of injuries they've had.
Yeah.
For big periods of the season, they have had big chunks of their starting 11 out.
Yeah.
Just
and big
unavailable.
Players as well. Big players.
Yeah, key players. So I think taking that into consideration, I think they've underachieved.
And
they've had managerial issues as well, haven't they?
And managerial issues have been horrendous.
Yeah. And that's probably what turns it over to the D rather than the E for me. Yeah. I think if they've had the full squad available and they've finished in the position in 10th where they have finished, then dreadful season.
I think if the whole season had gone from March onwards, it'd have been an E because they have been awful.
Again, it was the one where they're like on a really tight rope of going into E, but not. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
so
leave them in D.
D's about right.
Yeah. Next up, Blackpool finished in 9th. Jake, where do you want to?
I think that's exactly where I expected them to be. For a while now, I haven't really thought of Blackpool being one to push on for playoffs.
Yeah.
They just seem to be quite settled of being the team that nearly get there and then build again.
But I think Steve Bruce has done an half decent job since he came in.
He has. He managed to steady it a little bit. But again, the way Steve Bruce, it's all set up there. It's all like Steve Bruce guys. Steve Agnew, Clementine, who's part of the recruitment thing. He's like sporting director because they got poached from Wednesday to go to Blackpool. So it's set up for Steve Bruce to get everything right. So I think if Steve Bruce gets his way in the transfer window, which he will if they're his guys and they know what it is and he's worked with, next season they could potentially push on to that next step. Look at the playoffs. They're missing. They're just missing a key. I think they're just missing a couple of key players in certain positions, and I think some of it is just it pays
a very solid outfit.
Yeah,
a very solid outfit.
Yeah, I'd agree with C on that. Bolton Wanderers, Ian, finished in
It's
8th.
got to be D.
Yeah,
massive expectations there, and
I
mean they finally got rid of Everett, brought Schumacher in. He had a little bit of a bounce when he first came, but the expectations at Bolton are so high that even a top half finish is not good enough.
If you look at their last load of games, their form was loss, draw.
Yeah, that's the time of season where you don't want that sort of form.
No.
I mean, they look playoff candidates for a lot of the season, but the drop-off's been quite alarming.
Yeah.
And I don't think the fan base is even now are very happy.
No.
Even with Shoemaker in charge. I mean, as far as size of clubs go, they're a big outfit in League One, Bolton.
Massive.
They seem to be just missing either a little bit of direction off the field and a little bit on it, where if that gets right, it could be working. But Bolton have been down here for a while now.
Yeah, they are.
And the longer you stay down here, the harder it gets to get out.
Yeah,
it does.
I think if Schumacher can make some good recruitment, it clicks. There could be a way, up and away by October, November, but it's a big if.
Yeah,
I mean, a club of that size will have a draw for players, won't it? At this level, and even at Championship level, you look if Bolton Wanderers come in for you, you go. That stadium is absolutely incredible. I'm not sure what the training facilities are like, but if it's anything like the stadium, then I'm assuming it'll be Premier League Championship level training facilities and
I mean,
set up.
In the early 2000s, they were a mainstay Premier League side, Bolton.
Yeah. So they're going to have that infrastructure that's going to attract players. So, like you say, that direction off the field, get it right, and Bolton. I
think for Bolton fans, the big thing now is that it's a fresh, clean slate from Everett. It's someone who can finally do something a bit different, because Everett's style of football and the way he's acted has started over the years, to put it bluntly, piss off Bolton fans royally. Because he just doesn't come across as well versed in reading body language and reading what to say and what not to say. Right, it wasn't it this season he had a scrap with someone.
I think it was, yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
So underachieve for Bolton. I think we all agree on that.
Yep.
Moving to Reading, they just
A+.
missed out in 7th.
I'd agree with Jake there. Put them at the top.
Put them at the top.
Overachieved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massively.
Considering what they've had to deal with all season, and we should also say congratulations as well. You have finally got new ownership, which hopefully will put you in the better position, and we never see you in that position again. The person who bought him, I think, ran Wickham at one point, and he got Wickham going to a good place. So if you want to just see what he's done in the past, we just look 2 places above you of how he managed to get that team going. I think, I think if they got playoffs, they still would have been overachieving. But with everything that's happened, they've kind of laughed it off, turned around. No, we're not going to let this define us. We're not going to let this become the thing. They lost Sellers halfway through the season, who went to Hull, which Hull, by the way, you idiot for sacking him. You're dumb.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you then just carried it on. You didn't let it phase. You went, right, you've been part of our history to help us, and carried on. And I think I am excited to see what happens with Reading next.
Yeah.
And also, massive congratulations and well done to the players for concentrating on the football and forgetting everything that's happened off the field and performing, because they've been exceptional this season, Reading in parts.
There we go. Any Reading fans watching, you'll like our rating this season. A+, fantastic. On to the playoffs now. So the first playoff team in 6th was Leyton Orient. I think they've probably overachieved.
Yeah, I agree.
I would put them in A+.
Yeah, because I didn't expect them to be in the playoffs. I think Richard Wellens has got them working phenomenally. I think Galbraith is a superb midfielder. If he's on form, the team click. I think Wellens is showing the ability that he's got as a manager that unfortunately he didn't have the opportunity to show at Donny. He's a winner. Some people don't like his attitude. Some people think he's a bit of a nasty man, but that sometimes gets the best out of players, and it's showing that at Leyton Orient. I think he's recruited players that have that drive, that determination, similar to what he's got.
I was going to say a lot of the players are very similar to how he was as a player and how he is now the manager. And I think when you get that kind of attitude from your players as well, it works. It clicks.
They'll feed off it. I think they'll feed off it. And if you're a player that needs to be wrapped in cotton wool, don't go to Leyton Orient, because they'll chew you up and spit you out. And I think they've shown that against a number of teams where maybe they are a bit more, I don't know, softer. I don't want to say softer. You know what I mean? They're not quite as
last 6 games of the season. They didn't lose one.
Yeah.
No. Fantastic end to the season.
Yeah. I just think they've overachieved for me. I didn't expect them in the playoffs. Probably mid to high mid table. But to break into the playoffs and be in the playoff final, the one step away from the championship, which is a massive overachievement for me for Leyton Orient, and a big congratulations. I'm buzzing to see Richard Wellens get some success. That he was starved at Donny through the ownership at the time for me.
Yeah,
that's my 2 pence on it. You guys happy with A+ for Leyton Orient?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
See, I'm gonna have the same thing again when we had with Peterborough, Mansfield. I think Charlton and Wickham are going to be the same grade. I think they're where we expected them to be and done really well.
So B?
Yeah.
Formed well?
I don't know if they, would you say they're both about around the B?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
because Charlton, again, like I said with Bolton Wanderers, Charlton are a big side, a big club at this level.
Yeah.
And you can say what you like about Nathan Jones. He's got them performing. He
might have his antics and what he does, but he finally got that place believing.
Yeah.
And it only needed one person to come in and make it work. And loving or hating, he's that kind of person. If he can get it working, he's fantastic.
Yeah. Mark said it was blunt. Was a problem, tight with a purse, and that's when Richie was at the club. Yeah, I think he was just working with his hands tied at the time.
And to me, although I have said it on numerous occasions, I wouldn't like to be a Wickham Wanderers season ticket holder, because I think the style of football that they employ and the dark arts that they employ has remained up from the Ainsworth days. But they've performed. Yeah. It's a horrible place to go, Adams Park, because you're always on the end of a narrow 1-0 or 2-1 defeat, but they get the job done.
Yeah. It's a lovely part of the country, though. I'll give them that.
Yeah, for Wickham, who are comparatively small in budget and size for League One, they've overachieved by a long way, but perform well. Yeah, I mean. They'll do exactly the same next season. Everybody knows it. They'll be in the higher echelons of the table.
Yeah.
But like I said, I wouldn't like to watch them every week. But
And again, it could have gone either or with them losing Matt Broomfield as well.
Yeah,
how dumb does that look now for him to go to Luton?
Yeah.
Well, he's now got to go play him.
Yeah, that'll add something to that
that'll
fixture.
be interesting. That could be interesting when them two pair up.
Moving on to the final playoff team, it was Stockport County, promoted last season, won the title, I think, if I remember
Yep.
Yeah, they did. They won League Two title. For me, I'm a bit torn on this one. I think they performed very well or performed well. It's one of those two. I think they've.
I would stick them personally in perform very well.
Yeah.
In A.
Because I'll go with you guys because I'm torn between the two because I think
I'm the same with you, Dan.
Always kind of delivers a better performance season after.
I'm kind of in the same thing with Dan, but also promotion and winning it doesn't automatically think you're gonna be up there like they were. So I think perform very well is actually quite fair because you've got to try and recreate that season, and sometimes that's not easy to do, to recreate the second season where you've gone up.
Yeah.
So it's about making sure, managing that expectation, make sure you build it. And they owe a lot of well wishes to Louis Barry, but when they lost him, they just carried on like he wasn't even there.
To be quite honest, I mean, that could have been a massive blow losing Louis Barry, but it just didn't seem to affect him at all. It didn't seem to affect him. I mean, players like Wootton and whatnot just taken Barry's mantle and started scoring.
Yeah,
they're exciting to watch. They always go forward in every game, regardless of the match situation or whatever. I mean, one of the best. I mean, we drew 1-1 with them at our place at Christmas, and it was the best game I've seen this season because it were end to end. But that's our Stockport player.
Yeah,
the key for them is going to be keeping their manager.
Yeah.
He's going to be hot property. And I don't think he's stupid enough to go anywhere yet.
Yeah.
But it was in his post-match in the playoff semi-final defeat, it were critical of the Stockport fans for when they were 3-1 down on penalties, people were going.
Yeah.
They were leaving, and he weren't happy about that at all. I'm hoping that doesn't sort of like affect his decision because they go together, Stockport and Dave Challoner. You wouldn't imagine Stockport without him.
I mean, we've got a comment from Callum, Rotherham fan. He disagrees with you, Ian. Well, disagrees with all three of us because we've agreed with your.
I knew somebody would disagree with me. But having said that, that's my opinion.
And everybody's got their own opinion. So please, Callum, give us your reason why you think Rotherham should be in a dreadful season. Because for us, we feel that re-establishing yourself at League One level, not overachieving by going back up, you've not been relegated. For me, it's a solid season and expectation achieved. But you're entitled to your opinion. But let us know your reasons why. I think
there's a lot of bit of where you also have it. What was your expectation at the start of the season, Callum?
Yeah.
If your expectation was that we're going straight back up like we always do, then I can understand why it's a dreadful season.
We sold an awful lot of season tickets on the fact that Steve Evans had come back.
Yeah.
And a lot of Rotherham fans who I spoke to expected exactly the same as what had happened in 2013, 14, 15 when he were there before, when we had all that success.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, very rare. I say it's not impossible because Dan's here, but it's rare that a manager comes for his second stint at the club and does as well as he did first time round. It's very rare, and it turned toxic very quickly.
I always say never ever go back. Normally with managers, I'm always the one to go back, and it's very rare it does work.
They were clamouring for Paul Warne to come back before he got the MK John Don's job, and I said, "Oh no, in the name of God, no," because it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked. I mean, I know Matt Hanshaw were on Paul Warne's staff at Rotherham, but he wasn't the manager.
No.
So therefore, he's come in. He's got his own ideas. He's not got Paul Warne's ideas. He's got his own ideas.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think he were the man to take us forward. He knows
Yeah.
the club inside out, and he knows the DNA of the club.
Yeah.
So I think
Well-
that is a good starting point.
Okay, fair enough.
Callum's come in with his reasoning. Performances have been absolutely dreadful, to be honest. I thought we would be up there, but I didn't expect us to bounce straight back up. So I think
That's fair.
Yeah, we're not saying
No,
that your grading is wrong or ours is right. I mean, Mark's saying that Evans promised promotion, so that's going to end up increasing expectations of the fan base.
He did.
So yeah,
you
can't see it as a poor season because of obviously Evans saying promotion's going to be there. Disappointed with performances because you did have a decent squad. So yeah,
I think top two that we're about to do. This is weird because I'm looking at the grading and it goes everywhere. I see them both with a C.
Yeah.
And it seems very weird that I want to put both teams in C. Am I mad? Am I mad here?
No, I completely agree with you.
Right, before you get too far down that hole, putting these two teams in smack bang in the middle. Last week we expected Leeds United and Burnley both to be promoted.
We did.
And we put them in A and A+ because of the performances and how they've delivered their promotions. And I think,
but there's a caveat to that. As I said last week, Burnley only lost 2 league games all season and conceded 16 goals in 46 games. Now that is exceptional.
Broken records.
That is exceptional.
But Birmingham broken records with everyone expecting them to break records.
Yes, because they spent 20 million quid on a striker in League One.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
Arguing at this point.
it's such a weird one because it's where I expected them to be, but at the same time, it's also the like if you had like something where it was a C and you could just put A and B. They should be here and here, but they're here because they did what they said they were going to do. I don't know. It feels odd.
This might be controversial, but I think if either one of us three, with the budget Birmingham City had, we could have got them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I just think, I mean,
I kind of get with what Jordan said. Makes a little bit of sense.
Jordan said Birmingham broke the all-time EFL record, so for me, it's a high A because everybody did expect promotion. But how
I'm leaning towards that. I'm leaning towards A, but not A+.
And I think the same would probably go for Wrexham for me.
Yeah,
although we expected them to be promoted.
If you look at what the wording is with expectation, see where they should be. But Wrexham coming up from League Two wasn't 100% sure it was going to be the way they thought it was going to be. The fairy tale, it could have gone wrong. And then you had the whole thing with Birmingham coming down. People going to Birmingham fans, oh, this is really harder than you think, and then go, no, it's not. It's a piece of piss. Look, it's a piece of piss. Yeah, it's a piece of piss if you've got money.
Yeah.
And no proper financial fair play. But their financial fair play system, these two teams are making money really well and really high off the pitch, and they're making the revenue for it. So they're not having to worry about it.
Wrexham have gone back to back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should
which I think elevates them from a C to an A for me.
Yeah.
And I think if they do it again next season, I think we should make another category.
What would that category be in?
Fucking hell, where were you guys 4 years ago?
So
I would rate Wrexham's achievement probably a little bit higher than Birmingham's because, like I said, when you spend 20 million quid on a striker in League One and nothing happens, you should be shot and a man about sacked.
I'm so glad John's not here.
I knew we'd get hammer on these because of the way that we've set the grading up, and I completely agree with what you two guys said to begin with, that we expected.
I think as a compromise, we should put Birmingham in B.
I can't do it, Ian. I think just because of I know they've had a lot of money, but the point tally that they got and the way they've gone about the business, it's still 11 players versus 11 players at the end of the day, isn't it? And stuff can go wrong.
It's hard not to put them in an A.
So is England against San Marino? What's your point?
Oh, it's so hard.
It's tough, isn't it?
This is so hard.
I think what we should do is give Jake the deciding vote.
Oh, God damn it. It's an A. It's an A for me. It's an A for me. Just because, I think 20 million quid. If that player breaks his leg, does it still have the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a point. Yeah.
I think that is an argument to be had. The way that they've gone about the business this season, the money that the resources
they've been exceptional. They've been exceptional.
They were expecting promotion.
The best teams have gone up, but it was expected that they would go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I had them as a C.
We're right. But I don't think we'll be having this argument this time next season when we're reviewing League One again, because I think it's a little bit more of a level playing field.
I agree.
You know how you say you need to do another category maybe next season for Wrexham? Can you just call it Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Or the Deadpool category?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is 48 teams allocated our grading so far. We are back next week to look at League Two, but before we move on, we do have our pre-season predictions. So a quick look at this. We finished on 120
Oh dear.
So if you're new to this,
we got Burton bang on.
Yeah, if you're new to this, we allocate 1 point per position out that we were. Last season we got one team correct and we got 104 points. This season we've got two teams correct, we've got 120 points. So we've got more teams further away than what we expected. So the argument that we've just been having about Wrexham, we put them in 11th. We thought the back-to-back promotions was probably a little bit too much and they'd finish mid-table. So for them to get second, I think probably justifies that A. Birmingham, however, we had them in second behind Huddersfield. I don't know what we were smoking that day.
Start the season.
Yeah, what you got in your vape, Ian?
I'm not telling.
So yeah, we're miles away on some, aren't we? I mean, big movers in there. Peterborough, we had them as many would have pushing for playoffs. Finished 18th. We had them in 8th. Bristol Rovers, we had them as solid mid-table. They ended up getting relegated come the end of it. But they were the two big ones, really, weren't they? Leyton Orient, obviously, we had them kind of low to mid-end of the table, and they finished in.
I don't think Charlton were a bad shout, having them in 5th and they finished 4th. So, yeah,
there's some close ones. There's a lot of yellow in there.
We all argued on this one, I remember, because we all were talking about Rotherham, and Ian was like, no, get us out of there. We're not going there. Go further down. I was like, nah, you'll be fine. You'll be going up. And he was bang on.
Yeah, we outvoted him incorrectly in that one. So 120 points in League One, not the greatest of predictions. If you didn't see the Championship one last week, we got 132 points in that, so slightly better in League One in terms of predictions. And then finally, we take that away, we pop this back on. We've got the Fantasy EFL, so a little mini league for the playoffs. Liam's EFL Fantasy is currently bottom on 87 points, but it's extremely tight. I think there's only about 50 points in it, something like that. So as I'm scrolling up, if you see your team, well done, because we're getting higher up the table.
Oh, Bailey's not doing well.
No, I'm beating Bailey.
That's all anybody wants to do. But top two, Slotmatic Indiaz, love that name. 150 points, cooking in on gas, 1 point behind coming into the playoff final. So all to play for coming into the final games of the season.
Also, the teams have been cleared, so you can make your teams now for the finals.
Yeah, get on it. Lovely stuff. Right, we have ticked on to an hour and 15. I can hear pots and pans getting knocked about, so let's round this one up. We will start at the bottom. Ian, any final words, mate?
We were always going to have arguments about League One, really. But having said that, I would say League Two were quite harmonious, really. The Championship were quite harmonious, really. Yeah, it's all about opinions. People have different opinions to me, and a lot of Rotherham fans have different opinions to me. But we're where I thought we were going to be, and I think we can push on from there under Matt, I'm sure. But as far as the chat goes, brilliant again. I think there's teams that can be proud of their achievements and the teams not so. And go again in August, and it'll be exactly the same again. Probably be different teams.
Yeah. Clean slate in August, and we go again, don't we?
Yeah.
Jake, any final words, mate?
League One is always fun to have a talk about and just try and do the we've always said that League One chat when we've all either been in the league or been in it. It's always fun because there's always that one team that does something and you're like, why are you there? Yeah. You shouldn't be there. You weren't where we were meant to be.
Absolute buggers.
And the thing is, this is why we don't do it as a bet, because we'd be well out of pocket. But at the end of the day,
I mean, let's face it, if football went through went in form cycles, we'd all be billionaires, wouldn't we?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we've always had it that League One's always been a fun one. When we first started the show, me and Dan were in League One together. Yeah, so it's always
next season it's me and Dan that's in League
One.
So.
So it's a weird one where this feels like home for the start of the show, because it was like we had that whole thing. But I always like League One. It's always interesting. I knew there were going to be arguing when it came to that top two.
Yeah, true enough.
We'll get there. But no, I've enjoyed this. It's been a nice roundup of the playoff semi-finals and also grading League One. As we say, we've all got our own opinion. We'll never agree on everything. If you're watching this on repeat and you don't agree with any of the gradings, please get it in the comments. And it's not set in stone yet. If the arguments continue in the group chat over the week, you may see some of the teams moving around a little bit. Who knows? Because we are covering League Two next week. I'm not sure when it'll be. It'll be Monday evening or Tuesday. Keep an eye on the socials, and we'll keep you
after the playoff plan.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll round off the playoff finals. We'll know who's going to be where, and it'll be a nice way to round off the season and look forward to August. So yeah, if you are watching on repeat, please give it a big thumbs up. Get your comments in the section down below if you agree or disagree on any of the gradings. If you haven't subscribed to any one of the three of us, links are in the description down below. All that's left for me to say is wish you all the best for the week. Have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.